Raider Nation, what's going on? And it's mailbag time. Remember, these mailbags are filmed on Tuesday's live show. We go live every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. Also, we are also available on local, so if you guys want more content around the silver and black, you can go ahead and also join us at RaidersReport.locals.com. We're making crazy videos all the time over there, whether it's the one-chip challenge, whether I'm going live talking to people watching the UNC-Kansas game. Locals is built on getting you guys to know me better and getting more content. Let's go to the first question coming in here. It's from Cameron Sproul. Raiders, I was going to say, went on a playoff run basically without Waller last year. I'm okay with trading him to get a first and a second-round pick this year. I just disagree. Darren Waller is a proven top 5 tight end. I think we'd all agree on that. Finding Darren Waller is not an easy thing to do. And also, a first and a second-round pick isn't guaranteed to be anything. We've seen that stuff happen. I would rather stick with a proven player than going out and hoping that you can go out and get somebody else. Because if you draft a tight end, you're going to hope he turns into Darren Waller, right? Let's go to Ivan. Eddie, all right, so Eddie, go and replace Eddie Pascal, please. Raiders, shout out to my girl, too. Well, shout out to Ivan's girl. And, hey, if the Raiders want me to replace him, I personally think I could do a better job. But the only way I do it is if I could still make content here at Chat Sports, because I think what we've been able to build here is a lot more special over there. But, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Eddie, he's not very good. Let's go to Latoya. We got, which players can we bundle for second or first-round picks? The only players that you're bundling for first-round picks, Derek Carr and Darren Waller. You're not going to move on from either one of those guys. At least I don't think it's a smart thing to do. For a second-round pick, there's really nobody that I'm going to go ahead and trade for a second-round pick either. I mean, the most likely trade candidates are Josh Jacobs, and I'd put that at about 5% chance of happening. You're going to get probably a fourth-round pick for Jacobs. Maybe you go ahead and get something like a fifth-round pick for Jonathan Abram, Trayvon Mullen, Roderick Teamer would be another name. The Raiders, though, I don't see them moving on from some of these other players. This one's coming in from Diablo FFG. Thoughts on signing Jadeveon Clowney for our new defense? A lot of the times in the past when I brought up Clowney, I was like, this guy's built more to be in a 3-4 style of scheme, and that's what the Raiders are probably going to implement going forward. They're also going to run a lot of 5 technique, 4-2-5. Patrick Graham's going to switch it up on you. I do like Clowney. He's a good player, and I actually thought he had a halfway decent season last year, though Clowney's biggest shtick is he's going to want to make a lot more money than probably what he's worth. But before I give my answer, what do y'all think? Shout out to Sam. Should the Raiders sign Jadeveon Clowney? Type Y for yes or type N for no. If it's a cheap contract, sure. But Jadeveon Clowney, who's arguably a top 5 free agent still out there, isn't going to do it. And if you're going to spend that type of money on Clowney, I would rather spend that money on Stephon Gilmore, bigger need. Spend that type of money on the Honey Badger, bigger need. And maybe go out and get a freaking right tackle. I don't know. I like Clowney, but I'm going to go ahead and say no. Let's go to David Taken. Waller still has 2 years left on his contract. Relax. We have a lot of cap space as of right now next season. So here's the issue. I know that Darren Waller wants a pay raise, and I've actually heard from people who I trust that the reason why these Darren Waller trade rumors are popping up is because if Waller doesn't get paid, if he doesn't become, I've heard, the highest paid tight end in the National Football League, his new agents could force him to go ahead and sit out. I don't know if Waller wants to do that, but I do know that those agents that he just went ahead and hired do have a lot of power. I see Darren Waller being the highest paid tight end before kickoff starts in 2022, or you're going to get into a sticky situation. Yes, he has 2 years left on his deal, but he wants a new contract. He hired new agents, and I believe that it's going to happen before the season starts. Let's go to Ivan. I meant Mitch. My bad, laugh out loud. But yeah, Eddie, I get that this job is not easy. It takes a lot of practice. I mean, you go back and watch some of my videos that I did in 2018, they were bad. I was not a good on-air presence, though. I also go on Twitter, and I'm still a bad on-air presence, right? Everything takes practice. You got to learn the team. You got to learn the insides and outs. But the thing that he doesn't do is get to know Raider Nation. He tries to just be an on-air camera guy. He doesn't like to have any fun. Let's go to Apple Dew. I don't know, but do you think Deshaun Jackson, that is a hell of a spelling, would be better than Edwards if we don't get this? No. Bryan Edwards, to me, can still be a wide receiver 3 in the NFL. Hopefully, he can be that wide receiver 2 because I've seen flashes of Edwards. I liked him when he first came out of South Carolina. I know players that told me that went up against him in practice. They're like, he has the athletic ability to be a very special receiver. He just needs to put it together on the numbers, or I guess between the ears. And when Henry Ruggs was on the field, Bryan Edwards was a different player. I'm hoping that you take a little bit of coverage away from him, gets more one-on-ones, and in the third year is known as the breakout year for the receivers, that Bryan Edwards has his breakout year, because if he does, good luck trying to defend this offense, man. Now, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications because the offseason, you never know what's going to happen. And maybe it's a Saturday. Maybe it's Thursday at night. And breaking news happens. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to make a video. And if it's big enough news, we go live here. So if the Raiders go out and sign the Honey Badger, sign Stephon Gilmore, go out and make a big-time trade, we're going live on the Raiders Report. And if you guys want to celebrate with me, if you want to have a good time, then that link's down there below. And if you're already one of our 112,000 subscribers, take that link, send it to some Raider fans, because the more subs we get, the more people we get watching here on YouTube, here on Rumble, the more content I can create, and I want to do only Raiders content. Next one's coming in here from James. Do you potentially see Josh Jacobs running for 2,000 yards this season? I do not, and I love Josh. I think he's a top 6 running back when fully healthy. That's how talented I think he is. It's the injuries, though. I'm going to guess that Josh misses 3, maybe 4 games this season. What's going to be really interesting is if the Raiders decide to give him his 5th-year option. If they give him that 5th-year option, I actually think that his numbers go down. If the Raiders don't give him his 5th-year option, then I could see them pounding him into the ground. Pounding him into the ground, getting the most that you possibly can out of him this season, and then you move on from him. The 5th-year option, though, means that they're a lot more confident in Kenyon Drake, and they're going to take it easier on Josh. That way he's fully healthy, and you don't pound him into the ground. That way he can rock and roll in 2023. Let's go to Matt. All right, someone mentioned Clowney. What about Jamie Collins? So Jamie Collins is like 32 years old, and he's always been a phenomenal fit in all the New England Patriots defenses. He's a long, lanky linebacker / edge rusher, can do a lot of different things, and would be somebody who I really truly believe could step in right away and help out any 3-4 defense. I like Jamie Collins, and if you were to tell me, who would you rather have? Jamie Collins, who I believe was like an over 80 overall PFF player, or Jadeveon Clowney? I'll take Collins at $3.5 million a year over Clowney at $10 million a year every single day of the week. Let's go to Snyder. Hell of a pick. LeBron and Carr are friends. Carr would recruit him, and he could play wide receiver if the Lakers release him. I'll tell you what. This would be one of the craziest things ever that happened. However, if I was LeBron James, I would pull the J.R. Smith route and go back to college and just play a college sport. Like, J.R. Smith is living the dream. You play in the NBA, now you get to go back to college. Sure, he's golfing. If I was LeBron, I'd be like, shit, let's go back to college. Let's party it up a little bit. But, dude, this would be hella fun. There's no doubt about it. Now, if you want more Raiders content and more exclusive Raiders content, then go ahead and become a member over on Locals. Or you can become a supporter for $10 a month or $100 a year. And what do you get? You just get more videos, man. And I love the content that we're able to create. Yesterday, I was chopping it up, watched the watched the UNC and Kansas game with a few Raiders fans. We were just on a Zoom call, chilling, hanging out, watching some college basketball. If you want to see me do the one-chip challenge, that video also available. Plus, I go live at least once a week. Last week, I went live twice. And what do we talk about? Literally anything you want. It's essentially like what you're seeing right now. It's a mailbag tied in with Raiders news and rumors, and I review a beer. Last week I reviewed a 1554 New Belgium review. Why? I like craft beers. I like having a good time, and it's the way that I like to get my weekend started. So if you want, support the show by becoming a member. Becoming a member is 100% free. How do you do it? Go to the link that you see in the chat, or it's also down in the comments and description of today's video. RaidersReport.locals.com. Believe me, it helps me out a lot. Well, let's go to Javier, Super Chat time. Any chance Waller sits out? Thanks, Mitch. I don't see Waller sitting out. I see that the Raiders give him his deal. If Waller's like, I want to get paid or I'm not playing, I see the Raiders giving him his deal. Or that's when the trade gets thrown in here. That's when the trade possibilities start thrown out there. But I know I've talked to Raiders players, and the amount of respect that they have for Darren Waller, that's not the type of person that he is. So I'm going to go ahead and say no. Big time Super Chat coming in here from LC Raider. Love you, Mitch. Love you, LC. Right now, what's the ceiling of this Raiders team? And also, let's have some beers in Vegas this year, bud. I don't know when I'm going to go to Vegas this year. I would like to be able to plan it because I know I got to go to my buddy's wedding in June. It's going to be like June or bachelor party in the Poconos from June 1st to June 5th. And then I got to go to his wedding because I'm one of the best man, and that's going to be like July 7th to the 9th. And that's also going to be somewhere in Pennsylvania. Vegas, if I can get out there for a few games, I would love to do it. But I always say, if you're in Dallas, Texas, hit me up. Let's grab some beers. I'm going to try to do some sort of Raiders get-together here in Dallas, Texas. But if I'm in Vegas, LC, I'll hit you up, and I am absolutely down to grab a beer, 2, who knows, maybe 3. All right, in terms of top players here, I know we like to talk about Davante Adams, but let's not forget about Hunter Renfrow or Darren Waller either. Out of these two players, who's going to have more receiving yards? And I want you to base it on both players playing all 17 games, being fully healthy. Who has more receiving yards in 2022? And this is a good problem to have if you ask me. If you think it's Hunter Renfrow, type 13. If you think it's Darren Waller, go ahead and type 83. Let's go to KC. Love the new profile pic, man. I like it. I actually get a face. What's good, Mitch? What kind of trade would have to go into getting a second-round pick, Raider Nation for life? So if you're going to get a second-round pick and you want to use the picks in this year's draft, you could probably move your third, your fourth, and a fifth to get up to the second round, because when you look at the trade value chart, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to Google, type in the NFL trade value chart, it's a good way to just see how much draft picks are worth. If you want to go ahead and give up a 2022 third and your third this year to get up into the second, that might be a possibility, though I don't see it being 100% likely. The Raiders will not be able to get into the first round unless you do something drastic. If there is a player that slides down to the round 2, then you might be able to package a deal. But again, you're going to have to give up quite a few picks in a year that you only have 5 draft picks. Super Chat coming in from Cameron. What is going on, Raider Nation? Mitch, we have young talent on the O-line. Can they be coached up, and will they live up to their potential? I will say I've never been a big believer in Tom Cable, and I'm excited to see what Carmen Brasillo was able to do. It's the Raiders' new offensive line coach. Carmen's done a lot of really good things on the New England Patriots in years past. I mean, he built Trent Brown, and Trent Brown was an underdog type of player and was a really good fit with Brasillo. I do think that this offensive line has got some talent on it that is untapped, and you need to be able to see the potential. Andre James is a great example of that, where came in, struggled, got better as the year went on. I'm hoping that the offensive line is better, though. So will Vegas trade up in the NFL draft? We just got a question around this, so go ahead and let me know. Type T for trade up, or do you think that they stay at 86? So their first pick in this year's draft is at 86 in round 3. There's been some rumors. Do you think it happens? Type T for trade up, or type S for stay at 86. Let's go to Super Chat from Javier. Let's link up in Pittsburgh. I'll get you tickets. Raiders! Unfortunately, I will never go to a Raiders football game because I do live watch parties. If you're talking about the Pitt Panthers, never been there. If you want to go watch a Pirates game, though, I'd probably be down to do that. I'm a big baseball fan at heart as well. Let's go to Mikey. Should we just draft linemen? No. To be honest, a lot of the linemen that start to fall in this third and fourth round range, I'm not crazy about them. There's some good offensive guards, but when you get into that range, I'd rather just keep the guys that we have. There's some good defensive players, a good defensive draft as you get down there. I would rather the Raiders go out and get some defensive players. What up, Kathleen? Thoughts on drafting Isaih Likely to be another speed weapon for Carr? So Isaih Likely actually met with the Raiders last week. I talked about him a little bit on the Raiders Report. He's also a player who I've brought up a few times in terms of being a player that you could target at 86. I do not see him being available in round 4. So if you wanted to go ahead and take him, you'd have to get him in round 3. He's like 6'4", 245 pounds. I believe last season on Coastal Carolina, he had, I want to say like 982 yards, 58 catches. There you go, 59 catches, 912 yards, 12 touchdowns. And I see him being used as a pass catcher, can be a better blocker. The issue is this, though. If you go out and get Isaih Likely, that means that either you're not keeping Foster the year after that, or bad stuff might happen with Darren Waller. At least that's what I see. Or you're not confident Bryan Edwards, you bring in Likely, and he can turn into somebody like Chase Claypool. Let's go to Kevin Jackson. If Derek Carr was traded to the Rams last year instead of Stafford, do they still win the Super Bowl? It's a really good question. I think the reason why I'm going to go ahead and say no is because Matthew Stafford, from a talent standpoint, is more talented than Derek Carr. And Stafford finally got some confidence, finally got that swagger, had better arm strength. And on top of that, Sean McVay is built to be a little bit more ballsy, which fits Stafford's strengths. I do think, though, the Rams would have been a solid playoff team. They would have been a good team with DC. But Stafford fit that offense very, very well, and he fit Sean McVay because McVay let him do what he wanted to do, and that was ball out a little bit.